Well, hello everybody. This is Don from the Vlog of Many Things. With me is
Folks, thank you for joining us. Tenkar here, whatever. Tavern Keeper, I added something to it now.
excellent. And
Tavern Keeper. I like that. This is Tom from Tabletop Tap Room.
tonight we're going to talk a little bit about everything. But one of the topics that we want to talk about is about Brian Thompson. He is the CEO of American United Healthcare, and he was summarily executed on a New York street at about 6:30 in the morning by a Luigi Mangione. And the reason why I want to talk about
child of Chuck Mangione?
Not sure.
No, I told you he was in one of the Mario games.
Oh, okay.
Might be.
Luigi, that comes from a Mario game, but Chuck Mangione was big in the 80s.
Yeah.
Yes. So the big question is, and this is the reason why I wanted to kind of bring this up tonight, was on TikTok. I'm on TikTok quite a bit, and
my sympathy for you.
What's that?
I said my sympathy for you.
Oh, I love TikTok. It has one of the most purest algorithms and one of the most common sense algorithms that I've ever seen on a social media site.
Well, that's
at any rate, I digress. But so on TikTok especially, there are people who are praising this as something positive, including many well-known, well-established TikTok creators that are known to be both liberal and conservative. So it kind of blows on both sides. They are, and I'm talking about big TikTokers, like 500,000, 5 million followers. And I noticed in the last few days that on Facebook, a lot of people are posting like Photoshopped images of them with this Luigi guy saying, "Oh, Luigi, I'm glad you were here with me all day in California on December 4th. They're mocking it, but they're supporting what he did. Now, real quick, I saw a TikToker offer this argument for the killing. And Eric, you are an NYPD ex-sergeant?
Yep.
Okay, so you are the man to have on this show right now. So the argument was this. They did Terry Thyatis, welcome to the show real quick. They did basically a thing called on TikTok, you can show an image and then respond to it or show a video. And the video they showed was the NYPD head going, "We don't murder people in this country." And the argument is, yes, we do. We murder Americans every day in this country. It's called insurance-held healthcare. It is condoned. Millions of Americans die every year because of deliberate actions by our healthcare system. Wow. And so what I'm asking here is, did this CEO deserve it? Because also now that has come out is emails now by the CEO who last year said, "I'm only getting a $30 million bonus. We need to deny more claims because I'm not getting enough." And he was rated. I mean, I think his money, and I'm close to it. I think they said he was at $28 million a year was his payroll.
So that makes probably, and I think United Healthcare was denying 32% of the denial rate was 32%,
which is double
the industry average.
Agencies.
Yeah.
And many people are coming forward who are like, one guy I watched goes, "This is why I got no sympathy for this CEO." He said, "My wife and me had United Healthcare for 20 some odd years." And he said, "We never used it, not even so much as a doctor's visit." Mm-hmm. He said, "My wife got metastasized breast cancer, stage 3, hit her hard, and they denied her chemo treatment because they said it was not needed." And he said, "My doctors were pleading and everything, and they still denied her." And he goes, "I had to let my 2 children watch their mother die because of that." So he said, "You know what? Fuck that guy. He deserved all 3 or 4 bullets he took." Now, the argument is this, my friends.
Yep.
Murder is murder.
Yeah.
Is murder ever condoned? Or can you ever condone murder? And what would happen if one of our wives had breast cancer and that insurance company said, "No, the treatment's not needed"? How would we feel? Now, I'm not advocating for it. I'm talking about the general attitude that's come across the internet.
All right, so I'll talk from my own personal experience. It wasn't United Healthcare. It was the insurance company that works with most of the New York City unions. 4.5 years ago, during the year of the plague, I was hospitalized 3 times. I was a frequent flyer. I was getting my own nurse who would
Yeah, you
call
would
me.
be overutilized.
I was overutilizing. But my second hospitalization, the most serious one, was for congestive heart failure. And I was not recommended. I was told that they would release me from the hospital. This was after about 2.5 weeks, so long as I was wearing a life vest, which was like, it's like a magical suit of armor that has a built-in defibrillator. And it was denied by my insurance company. So my
I was
doctor,
pissed. I was ready to go somewhere. and
yeah,
get
Rach,
help.
relax, Rach. You're seeing reaction from a family member. My cardiologist and my surgeon both called the insurance company and argued the point, and they appealed it twice, and it was denied twice. And the specialty of the doctor that denied
This is the icing.
my life vest. I was released without it. Thank God. Knock on wood. There were no issues. I was denied by a gynecologist. Okay. So, honestly, I saw the denial, and it said gynecologist, and I'm like, whoa. And by the way, I was hospitalized an extra 4 days as they fought this out. So the savings wasn't that huge because there was 4 days of hospitalization involved in it. So that's me putting myself in. I can understand the frustration with the health thing, but now I'm going to put this in another perspective. One of the courses, the best course I took, the worst course I took in my 20 years in the NYPD was sex crimes and child abuse. It was a 4-day course given at NYU for investigators and supervisors of investigators. It's actually 3 college credits put into 4 full days.
That's pretty good.
And I saw stuff and I learned stuff that shook me to the core.
Oh yeah.
And I left that one day, called my son's mother and said, just so you know, if anyone puts a hand on my son, I will kill them.
Mm-hmm.
Because there is evil in this world.
Yeah.
So you're asking, is it ever justified? I would say that there are people that could find justification in specific instances for the actions that they may do. And I think I can understand that. However, this for me is a situation where I have empathy but no sympathy. I can understand where this individual may have come from. However, this is not the way that you deal with a systemic problem.
Yes.
This CEO is not the problem. He's a symptom of the problem. That's like cutting off your nose to spite your face. It's not going to change the issues. The issues got to be changed at the regulatory level.
Right. The mill is still going to grind.
But the problem I think that we have here is we have in general, and I don't think it's really in general. I think it's a very, very well foundation systemic issue in this country, and that is, regardless, people which have needed medical care. See, we don't have that insurance company. See, my wife has Blue Cross Blue Shield Mesa. It's a special thing for teachers, and I have TRICARE for Life.
Right.
Okay. So no matter what, I've been very lucky because I've had major hospitalizations in the last 7-8 years. I mean, one to a tune of like $800,000 because in the ICU, and we had no out of pocket.
Right.
Because one didn't do. But I'll tell you right now, same thing with me. If my wife caught breast cancer, and that insurance company denied my wife, and my wife was denied for it, I'll be honest with you, I don't know what I would do. And evidently, this Luigi Mangione kid, or not
Mhm.
kid, he's an adult. Not only did his mother have issues that she was denied for, very serious, he had, I guess, major back issues and back surgeries that they denied pain medication and basic post-operative care meds.
Right.
And you know, I think how you said it best. But the problem here is that if lobbying does not help, because let's face it, insurance companies don't give a shit about me, you,
No,
none of us.
no.
They don't.
The feds have to step in.
Yeah,
The feds
but the feds don't care because the feds are lobbied by the healthcare and pharmaceutical industry.
Well,
Right.
part of the problem is somebody goes to Congress and within a year or two they're a millionaire.
And their salary is $800 or $180,000 a year.
And yeah, and I mean, AOC. I remember hearing, "Oh yeah, she's already a millionaire." It was like a year and a half into her term, and I'm like, "How do you go from being a bartender to being a friggin' millionaire in a year and a half by just going to Congress?" I know it's special interest money and all that, but it's just sickening. And so that's why change doesn't happen. And that's why you get Obamacare, and yet change doesn't happen. And I remember being on Obamacare because I was in a really pissant little job. Couldn't find work, so I just took the work I could find, and it was like temp work. And so I was basically on Obamacare, and it was like after I'd been there 6 months, I could sign up and actually really be on Obamacare, and everybody at the company was telling me it's not worth it. You still, even on Obamacare, you still pay for everything. It's not, everybody's telling me, so I didn't do it. But I'm in the doctor's office, and the nurse practitioner is like, "Oh, well, Obamacare." And I'm like, "Are you kidding me? Are you fucking high? Do you know what I'm going to have to pay out of pocket on that?" It was just
That's
insane. And honestly, even though they promised us the world, they didn't deliver. They just didn't deliver.
But Fugly says something here that's a very good point. He says, as a figurehead, one would think the CEO would be able to change policy if they wanted to. And see, this is the other crux of what's coming out about this guy. This guy is in emails, because emails are coming out now by this guy, where he is basically saying, we are approving far too many
shit.
claims. And Fugly is 100% correct. The CEO can advocate for basic fundamental changes to the policies that those insurance companies operate under.
Right.
And in fact, ensure, because let's face it, we all know there's insurance fraud. We all know people say, my back hurts when their back really doesn't hurt, because what do they want? They want the pain meds. They want to go to the ER. We get that. But the thing is, when you have people with very well documented injuries, surgeries, cancer, and that type of stuff, and they're denying, I think someone confirmed, I think it was Dietis, like 34 or 35% of claims.
Yeah.
That is absolutely atrocious. You have people paying for it.
Well,
Why is the industry average?
I just want to speak to his gynecologist story there. My brother.
Go ahead. I'm going to look up industry average.
My brother is he's a nurse. He's in the Army. He's a hospital administrator for the Army. He's about to retire. And I was talking with him about stuff that was not being honored. The insurance company wouldn't cover. And he gave me the lowdown. He says, listen, this is how it is. You have doctors out there who absolutely suck at their job, and they end up not being able to do their job and make a living. So they go to work for the insurance companies.
Yeah.
And they just suck there. And so he was giving me the lowdown. He says, keep pushing, keep pushing, keep pushing. But in the end, I could not keep pushing on this whole getting gel injections in my knees. And I just said, you know what, we got to cut out the pain and go straight to knee replacements. So that's what I'm pursuing.
And real quick,
they will pay for that.
And real quick, the question was, what is the industry average? Industry average is 17%.
Yeah.
There you go.
So, but the thing is, and Thais goes, it doesn't justify the murder of a specific person. And you know what? It does not justify the murder of that man. But the problem is I think that this really should be a, oh, and by the way, there's another point made. So what was the response by law enforcement to this? The response was they are now putting 90 days armed security by law enforcement to cover every single CEO of every major insurance company, including 24-hour protection at their homes. Oh, damn. How many kids get killed in schools every year? That's right. Our government just offers thoughts and prayers for that bullshit.
Well, some schools have resource officers, not all do.
Oh, there's some private security involved in this, but a lot of localities are doing it. It is preemptive. And listen, let's just put it out there. If you live in an urban environment, you're in a major city. You're having we had a gang-related stabbing between two immigrant gangs yesterday. Killed one and injured another. Unless you're looking for the news, you're not going to find it.
Mm-hmm.
But stuff like this, and listen, if the CEO had been killed in a burglary at his house, it wouldn't be the news that it is. The fact that it's an assassination, the fact that this guy, for all of what happened, I was watching this and I was saying two things from not just my experience, but just being a general asshole when I watched this stuff, is that this guy thought he was smarter than everybody else. Okay. That was what I thought initially. The problem with the gun, I was like, either this is a specialized gun or it's a ghost gun. It happened to be a ghost gun. And the fact that he did this round robin route, he did all this stuff, but he was vain. Mm-hmm. Okay. The reason why we got pictures of his face, including in the hostel, is because somebody went, "Oh, you've got such beautiful eyes. I'd love to see your smile." Well, the guy is vain, so he had to pull his mask down. When he got caught in Pennsylvania
with the gun, with
his 3-page manifesto, which, by the way, think about it, we never get these manifestos released, but this one got released. I've got certain issues going on here, but he was expecting to be caught, but it went on for 5 days. So he did everything possible to not get caught, yet sits down in a McDonald's, which has security cameras all over the place, to eat his hash browns with his mask off.
Yeah.
With never ditched the gun.
He was ready to get caught.
He wanted to prove he was too smart to get caught.
Right. He wanted to tell us
now he wants to make his political statement. So you can call this an act of murder, an assassination. I would actually say that this, in my opinion, is a form of domestic terrorism.
Yes.
Okay? That's what it is. And domestic terrorism is done for a cause.
Yes.
And it's done not just for the act, but the reaction and the attention getting. And he's going to use this to get his 10 minutes of fame and make his message. But my question, because I always have to ask questions to myself, is did he really do this all on his own? He was missing for about a month, like his mother put out a missing persons report. Yeah. He went missing. What was going on in that time that he was missing? That's going to answer a lot of questions. And I'll tell you the truth, I don't think we're going to get the answers because I don't think we're going to be told. They'll know, but they won't tell.
Yeah. Well, Violence Solves Everything is asking a very interesting question. He says, or they're saying, okay, I'm around 9 minutes behind on the stream, but did Don just express support for the death of the CEO? No, I have not expressed support. What we're doing here, Violence Solves Everything, and it's kind of a weird name to be chiming in like you're in disagreement with this because you're saying violence solves everything. But at any rate, No, what my point was is I brought this discussion up. I wanted to talk about this because of the fact so many people are expressing support for the death of this CEO. And like we do on the show, I want to discuss the issue, both sides of it,
Mhm.
the good and the bad, and it falls where it is. But no, I'm not all for the wholesale open murder of an individual on the street. What
Well,
I'm saying,
if it was either one of you two guys, I would do my best to talk you out of it.
absolutely.
I would
But
do my best to talk you out of it. But if you went ahead and killed the guy because Rachel had health care denied to her or whatever, right? I would be the first person to come visit you in prison and,
Thank you.
drop money in your cantina account.
Thank you.
Because that's because of the friendship. But I would still be like, no, I would try to talk you out of this. And look, I don't know what it's like to be the person who's there going, I forgive the guy who killed my family member. I see these people sometimes and I'm like, I don't know what that would be like. I don't know if I could do it. But I did have somebody one time make a threat. And I was trying to ask him something about art and Islam. It was a coworker. He was from Jordan originally. And we were friends. We've been friends a long time. I was trying to ask him because I was doing a lot of drawing. I was going to a lot of sketch groups. And I was trying to ask him about the situation. And he just snapped on me. He goes, if you do, I was like, I'm trying to ask him a question. He flipped out. He goes, I won't do anything, but I'll put your name online. And I was like, and I said, are you serious? I says, if anything ever happened to my kids, I would hunt you down and put a bullet in your head. And I meant it. And it got back to the boss. And so like a day later, the boss was standing there and we both happened to come into his area. And he's like, are you two okay? And I'm like, I'm fine.
well,
I let the guy know. You put my name online and my address, so somebody comes and visits my house and something happens to my kids, all bets are off. I have nothing more to live for because somebody just killed my kids.
Well,
They better kill me.
Elf Bates says this. Elf Bates says, how bad is it getting that this seems like a viable option for people? And there's the question. He just asked the crux of the question that I want to get at in this show.
Mm-hmm.
Because the problem is, and violence solves everything. This is what my point I was getting at. Elf Bait nailed it, is when we get to a point in society where a man is murdered on the street on camera, and there are literally thousands of people going, bravo, thousands of people are going, I'd hide him. I mean, people are literally going,
right.
I would hide him. Everything. And then people are coming out with these stories. I'm not saying that his death was warranted. I'm not in favor of murder. But on the dual point of this is, I'll be honest with you. If someone harmed my wife or one of my daughters, do not think for a moment that I would not sit there and do very, very bad and dark things.
Oh.
I mean, I had, and Tom and Eric know about this, I had an individual who we all know threatened to put my wife in a wood chipper.
Mm-hmm.
So I know what
you shared that with me.
Yes, I did.
Yeah,
I shared that email with you.
Yep.
About the jars and everything. What they said they're going to put in jars of my daughters.
Yes.
Oh, you did?
Yes.
Yeah,
I already put it out of my head. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well,
Yeah, that was a couple months ago. So the thing is,
all right.
there are dark and evil people out there. Not saying this, he's a CEO. You know what his job is? His job, like WotC, guys. Come on. Everybody hates on WotC, but the only thing WotC's doing is trying to make as much money for their shareholders as they possibly can.
But now there's something we're forgetting. And this came out early on, and then suddenly it never gets mentioned in the news. Do you remember that this CEO was being investigated by the feds?
Yes.
He was being investigated by the feds.
Inside trading, wasn't it?
Insider trading.
Yeah.
Yeah, he made millions of dollars selling stock at the right time. And he was being investigated, and he was about to be interviewed. So, again, I'm not throwing. I don't want to be
weird stuff is happening around this.
I don't want to be the conspiracy theorist going, this is what, but there might be more to this than meets the eye because, again, Luigi, I almost called him Mario, but
Yeah.
Luigi went through this to the only reason why he got caught is because he wanted to get caught. He did this as an assassination in broad daylight, took an electric bicycle to Central Park to dump stuff at Central Park, which included Monopoly money. So,
Yeah, it was monopoly money in this bag.
Yes. All right. Then he hops in a cab. Then he takes a cab to not Port Authority, but the Port Authority bus station up by George Washington Bridge. So he's doing all this stuff not to get caught, and did it in a way that. And he also, when he got caught, he had a passport on him. He had fake ID for New Jersey. He didn't act. The initial act, I thought, was possibly paid assassin, which never happens. So this looks like it's personal, but he also had all these escape routes, right?
So he had a silencer.
Paid assassin with Monopoly money.
And a silencer is not something that the average guy gets his paws on.
Well, this was made by 3D printing, and I have it on good authority that with a little knowledge, any one of us can make a silencer. Doesn't have to be effective. It wouldn't work long term, but for a handful of shots. But the thing is, the silencer, you're doing this on the city streets. Silencers they protect your hearing. They don't make it silent. It's still making a substantial noise. So the silencer is almost like he wanted it to appear like he was a paid assassin. But he's using a ghost gun that was off kilter. It wasn't properly balanced. It's the reason why it jammed after every shot.
Yeah.
Every shot, he had to rack the slide.
So he didn't even test it prior to using it.
I suspect he tested it because he had enough knowledge to know that it wasn't a magazine issue. He didn't do tap, rack, bang. He just did rack, bang. He knew after every shot, and he did it pretty quickly. He got off 4 shots? So he knew. He wasn't surprised. So he tested it. Okay. Now, why is he using a ghost gun? So a ghost gun can't be traced, right? So why do you still have the ghost gun on you 5 days later?
This is just weird. Yeah, it's just a whole bunch of weird shit that kind of umbrellas.
Where was he in the intervening time? I'd like to know. Where was he in these, 3, 4, 5, 6 months that he was missing? And why did his family wait so long before reporting him missing? They didn't report it until November. There's a lot of weird shit that's going on. Oh, and by the way, apparently he has dozens of family members that would have recognized him if they were watching the news, but nobody picked up a call. Family loyalty, whatever. I understand it.
Well, blood is thicker than water.
But
well,
I'm not
Matthew Mellman.
If my cousins assassinated somebody, I'd be like, okay, you gotta go.
Well, Matthew Mellman, thank you for tuning in the channel. He says the question then is, would the health insurer refusing to cover your wife or daughter's expenses qualify as harming? So, as an example, I'm not talking about, okay, I'll use my wife as an example. Let's say my wife hurts her back at work and she goes to the ER and they say, okay, take aspirin, go home. They're not going to give my wife pain meds for that. That's not harming my wife. I'm talking about, how do people feel when their loved ones are dying? They're dying due to the disease, but they're not even getting the basic medical care they need because the insurance companies are denying that basic medical care, and they've been paying their premium. So it's not like, you sign up for it and a week later you're using it. We're talking about people using these insurance companies for years.
Yeah.
And these are covered. And the thing is, these are covered items. These are legitimately in the policy covered medications. So is the question, is the health insurer refusing to cover your wife or daughter's expenses qualify as harming? My answer is, I believe so, yes. If if said denied coverage is in fact covered in your policy.
Right. There's certain stuff that is not going to be covered in your policy. But listen, what is the biggest oxymoron in health insurance? Medicare Advantage, where you literally give up your right to have pretty much everything covered to give money to an insurance company to give you membership in, I think, Silver Sneakers and some meals after a hospitalization sent to your home. You're giving, and therefore now they can deny everything and anything. And I do remember speaking to my my cardiologist at one point, and he was like, Medicare Advantage denies more claims than general insurance does. Now that's a scary thought. So there's no advantage. The only advantage is to insurance companies. They're making money off it.
Yes, and that's where I think the whole question becomes, should insurance companies be for-profit industries? But Piano TM or Piano Tom, sorry if I butchered your name. Thank you for tuning in, channel. First time I've seen you comment in here. They say he had a gun on him when they found him 5 days later. That's beyond stupidity. That's just deliberate indifference. I think he's a patsy. And see, this is where I think what's going to end up coming out, because now you have a young man who's facing life in the New York prison system, which, don't get me wrong, I'm not an expert on the different prison systems, but Eric, would you classify the New York prison system as one of the biggest shithole prison systems you can go into in this country?
Yeah. And, the COs, whether they're city or state, are understaffed, overworked, and not being retained in their positions. It is sad.
Yeah, so this young man is facing a lot of time. But who wants to vote? Excuse me. Who wants to vote that they're going to find him dead in his cell, or he will be harmed and killed by another inmate before this is over with? Let's put it this way: you have heard it first on the vlog of many things. My prediction is he will not make it to trial.
Who was that guy that hanged himself in a New York prison?
Oh, Jerry Epstein.
Epstein himself. Yeah,
I remember seeing those Christmas ornaments. This ornament didn't hang itself, and it was Jeffrey Epstein's face.
So, in the case of Epstein, which again, by the way, happened in New York, but federal custody, they basically had like I don't know, like a custodian and a food worker assigned to be corrections officers to cover the overtime, and then they both fell asleep when the camera wasn't working when Jeffrey killed himself. So I'm
sorry, Jeffrey Epstein knew where too many bodies were buried and he needed to go.
So but to address the patsy thing in this case, if he's a patsy, let's go with that conspiracy for a moment. It wouldn't be a government conspiracy. Okay, this would be a commercial business conspiracy. This would, if he was, it's because, and he might be, and listen, he could be motivated for his own reasons too, but he could have also been encouraged by somebody who was like, hey, our CEO is going to spill the beans on everybody else that was involved in it, because he wasn't the only one. And he maybe was the weakest link, and it's like, well, we've silenced him, now nobody else will talk, because they know what can happen.
Damn.
Well, also,
Eric, that's conspiracy upon conspiracy. You're suggesting that maybe this guy was assassinated because he might have been able to spill the beans on the insider trading investigation, and it ends with him being dead. And now this guy is going to go to prison, and he's probably going to end up dead.
And shuts everybody else up. And again, folks, I am spitballing here. All right. Is this totally my own? This has been talked down on one of the police forums, I know, as one of the potential theories.
Tammy, can you get me my tinfoil hat out of the closet, please?
If I was going to go tinfoil hat, I would be like, oh, this is MK Ultra. I'm not saying that. I am saying that this could be personally motivated, and at the same time, had somebody
manipulated
help train him. Hey, listen, you got your issues. Hey, we all win.
Well,
my father always said, he said the day after that LBJ was inaugurated, 50,000 more troops were going to Vietnam. That Kennedy was pulling us out, and the day after his assassination, 50,000 more troops were on planes going to Vietnam.
And let's not forget the infamous photo in the aircraft when LBJ was being sworn in. That look and the hand signal that he gave. Oh, who was it that was in the plane with him? You know. So the thing is, violence solves everything. Says something here. He says people would have the same reaction to the death of a political opponent. Bingo. Now let's go back in time a few months. Donald Trump.
Oh yeah.
Takes a bullet by the ear.
Yep.
Okay. What was the reaction of Trump supporters?
Well, one of my own friends on Facebook said you had one job.
Well, yes, to the negative. There's a lot of people condoning it.
To the shooter.
Yep. But there was also a lot of people on Facebook going, if he is ever killed, we are coming for the liberals. As a matter of fact, there was. Oh, come on, Tom. God, how in the hell did you not see that?
Because I don't go looking for that shit.
I don't go looking for that shit either, man. But that stuff was all over the place. And on top of that, like on TikTok,
I really didn't see it. I really
okay, because on TikTok, especially, people were like, if Donald Trump is ever assassinated, I cannot wait because I'll be dragging my liberal neighbors out and I will be hanging them in the streets. That was all over the place. People doing that. Well, and see, that's the thing. The problem here, it's the fact that people condone radical violence. Not to mention what I've heard about this Mangione guy. I hate to say it like this, but oh my God, he's so sexy. What? What?
Yeah.
The guy's got a 6-pack set of abs. Well, guess what? That's going to be enjoyed by the other male inmates in prison when he goes.
Yeah. You know what? I heard about the Unabomber, but I prefer the Unibrow.
Yeah.
Oh, and by the way, he happened to enjoy reading the Unabomber, apparently.
Well, that just makes him guilty.
Yeah, no.
It radicalizes him in the view by the press.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I know the deal is usually the most obvious answer is the answer, but there are just too much weirdness to this to be as simple as, well, he had back pain and he was impotent, so therefore he killed the CEO after training for 6 months with a ghost gun, which he didn't throw into the water at Central Park, which we all thought he would. No, he kept it with him as a souvenir, along with the silencer.
I still has yet to get that little blue pill.
But also, let's also talk about one other thing I seen. They were showing photos of him with his backpack on and all this. The problem is they have images of who the shooter is, and in some of the images, the guy's wearing a different colored backpack.
Yeah, the backpack color changed. I know the jacket color changed, but I think that was just the camera filter or whatever. Because it was like the same room but from different angles. But yeah, there was one. The backpack changed. That being said, I don't know what he had one backpack on him when he got arrested, and we haven't seen the backpack that he tossed in Central Park.
Which is unique because what do police do 99% of the time at a press conference? They have the guns sitting there on a table with the backpack and the Monopoly money or whatever, and they always want to make a big show of what they found, and there's been absolutely zilch about that.
Well, here's my question, though. All right, honestly, let me just ask you guys what my answer is. Let's suppose you decided, all right, this guy's going down. He killed my wife. He's going down. I'm going to print a ghost gun. Would you print one ghost gun or would you print two?
It depends how intelligent you are. It depends,
Well, I'm asking
about.
Are you smart enough to say, I'm going to print two and I'm going to lose the first one real quick?
Well, here's the too with the ghost gun, and this is the ghost gun. You have to remember the cylinder, the part that the bullet goes through. You got to order that separately. All right, that's not plastic. That's not.
Yeah, that's not 3D printed.
It's the receiver. It's the trigger. But there's other parts that you. But the actual part that your bullet goes flying through, that can't be. You can. Sorry, you can't manufacture 3D printing. You could, in theory, if you had the equipment and you're like a pipe fitter. In theory, you could jury rig a gun that way, but usually people just
the pressures involved in the cylinder, where that bullet goes through the bolt, the barrel, and especially out that barrel of the silencer is so great. You can't 3D print that. But answer your question real quick.
Would you not get two?
No, I would probably make one, but this is what I would do. There ain't no way in hell I would keep that damn thing within 5 minutes after doing what I just did. And I would, not only that, but I wouldn't be carrying a backpack on my back, and I wouldn't be getting in cabs and holding my mask down going at the camera that's in the cab like he did. Whole bunch of stuff that just is like, ew. And I would have a get out of plan. I hate to talk like this, like I'm planning it, but I would have especially he was well off. His family's well off.
Right.
He had resources. This ain't some, 19-year-old, 20-year-old kid who worked at McDonald's and had $100 in the bank. This kid had money. And the thing is, I would have a exit route, and it wouldn't be sitting in McDonald's 5 days later. It would be at my home. Like I said, all this is like really, really wonked out.
The grid.
Absolutely.
With the skills I have from Boy Scouts and being a Mainer and living in the woods and having slept in a snowbank one time during a blizzard, I would be off the grid and you would not find me.
That right there would be left at home. That right there would be left at home. I wouldn't use my vehicle because that has GPS in it.
Yep.
And I would not be doing it. This guy, it was almost like what this guy did was he did it. He got a few states away and just, you know what? I'm just going to wait and get caught.
Yeah, so we've gone to talking about was he justified to how stupid is this asshole?
He's not stupid. Listen, remember too, valedictorian in high school at a prestigious private
and an engineering degree in AI engineering technology.
Yes,
and yet he was catastrophically stupid.
No. See, that's what my opinion. It was time for him to get caught. Whether he wanted to get caught or whether he had to get caught, it was time for him to get caught. Read into what you will.
Hat again, Eric. I mean, I gotta, you're gonna make me get the
thing. The thing is I think Eric. This is the thing. There's one of three options. I think. First of all, Patrice Bovin. Thank you for tuning into our channel. She says we never saw the medical report on that, and his ear looks fine. Yes, that's for a different show. Trump's ear, okay, and Trump's assassination. But the point being is I think you have one of three situations. Either he was just a lone gunman. He did this because he legitimately felt that he was socially making a point. He was right. He was going to kill this guy. And he had a really shitty exit plan. B, same thing as A, but he's like a really big idiot with a really bad exit plan. Or I think Eric is talking about possibility of C.
So, let me ask Eric this question.
Yeah.
All right. So that street that he did this on, New York City, I presume, because you were a New York City cop. So is there a grassy knoll on that fucking street?
There's no grassy knoll on that street. There are cameras everywhere. Here, let me explain to you. You've heard of like London and their ring. Their cameras everywhere.
Yeah.
All right. NYPD after 9/11 took that to the extreme. However, most of the NYPD cameras are not run by the NYPD. They are private cameras, but pretty much every camera in Manhattan from Midtown down to the very southern tip is connected to a command center at 1PP, which has access to every camera in real time and everything that camera is recorded. So when this went on, immediately they were looking to follow this guy. That's how we found it afterwards. We saw him going away on the bike. We saw him ditching something in a garbage bag on his way there. We know he went to Central Park. We see him leaving Central Park. And then he goes off. He gets to the bus terminal by the George Washington Bridge, and he's off the grid for 5 days.
Mm-hmm.
And he doesn't go. Remember, he had a passport. He doesn't go to Canada. He doesn't go to Mexico. He doesn't go. He stops in Pennsylvania, in a small town in Pennsylvania, and takes his mask off to eat. Now, if you would think about it, again, Tom's saying the guy's an idiot. Yeah, he's an idiot, because if you didn't want to get caught, you're going to eat without your mask on. You're going to probably step outside and eat by yourself, not sit there in front of more security cameras, and be observed by employees and patrons. Isn't that the guy who's wanted? The story, it's all over the news.
Mm-hmm.
Off.
Yeah, he doesn't even lay down low. He goes to a McDonald's.
And by the way, the joke is, and I don't know if you saw it, the tweet from Burger King.
Oh, so we ain't snitching.
We don't snitch.
By the way, Wendy's chimed in also, and so did Chick-fil-A.
Oh my God.
What did they say?
Pretty much the same thing. I think Wendy's said something about there ain't no snitches here.
I mean, honestly.
All right, that's funny, but I don't approve.
Okay, Calvione says something here, real quick.
Yeah.
Mangione's family has connections to Nancy Pelosi's father. All right.
Ooh.
Let's say that's true, all right? But it doesn't mean Nancy Pelosi, Cal, had anything to do with the murder of a CEO.
Yes,
or
but she knows Hillary Clinton, and I think Hillary Clinton has assassins on speed dial.
And listen, Nancy.
Oh, Tom, I mean, I guess the thing is, I can get down. Let me call my wife real quick. She's downstairs sewing. I need to get my tinfoil hat for that shit too.
Listen, Nancy's father has been deceased, I'm assuming, for a number of years. Unless he's taking the same treatments that Nancy is, because I thought Nancy should have been dead.
I don't know. They all look like they've been pickled. Did you ever see? What's his name?
When you say pickled and Nancy Pelosi, it has multiple meanings, because it could literally mean
yeah. I mean, I don't think she goes home and goes to bed. I think she jumps in a jar.
Oh God.
What was that one guy's name? He's about he's about 700 years old now. He's from Kentucky, and he did a fall. Mitch McConnell, Moscow Mitch.
Okay.
Yeah. God, that guy! I'll tell you what. I think he goes every night, and they just kind of like re-embalm him overnight.
Yeah, it's like he needs his weekly stroke to keep going. I mean, that's the point he's at right now.
That was terrible, Eric.
I know, but that's.
And yet I'm laughing.
Ladies and gentlemen, here at the Vlog of Many Things, you get quality entertainment.
Fugly, we can't talk about space aliens, because then we're going to have to talk about the drones over New Jersey.
Oh, speaking of drones over New Jersey, let's jump on a different subject real briefly, people.
Okay. I've been reading up on that. Oh, my God.
Well, you're
I heard there's like a Chinese drone aircraft carrier parked off in the Pacific or Atlantic.
Iranian. It could be Iranian. So
Iranian, yes.
Yeah. So here's the thing. If you listen to what was it? The Secretary of Defense spokesperson.
Or the one that drools on camera and just says, I don't know what the situation is.
Yeah, pretty much. We don't know what it is, but there's no threat, okay? And the military is like, we don't know what there is, it's no threat. Governor Murphy from New Jersey was going to have a conference about it today, called everybody into the Capitol, and then he never showed.
Mm-hmm. Kind of like that Chinese balloon that started literally off in Alaska, and they waited like 3 days to finally do something about it, and they knew it was a Chinese.
We don't want to offend anybody. Come on. And then, did you see there's one congressman who was on TV who said, "Listen, I've spoken to people higher ups in the military, and these are hostile drones, and nobody wants to talk about it." I'm sure he'll be redacting that statement later. This is just some weird ass shit. I am looking.
High intelligence, low wisdom, chaotic neutral. That's right. They hit us.
Yeah, I love that comment. Not
So
appropriate for the drones story.
No.
But yeah.
Well, I think the whole thing here is this. All joking aside, is although I can empathize with the frustration if my wife died because of the lack of provided medical care. Okay. I don't think I would go to the extremes of killing an individual for that. By far, no. But on the same token, I can look at people who are going, I have no empathy for that fucker. Sorry. Because go ahead.
You know, I have zero appreciation for big corporations. Number one, and that might be the Star Frontiers fan in me. I hate big corporations. I do not like them. Sam, I am. End of story. But at the end of the day, would I kill somebody? It's all going to depend upon, you know, I've got daughters, and they need me to be there for, you know, weddings and life events. And I'm, you know, if you killed all of my daughters, I got nothing more to live for.
Well, hold on, Tom. Let's back up here. Hold on.
This is how I think.
You're hedging.
If you
Got to call you out.
my family that I really, really valued, I would feel like I don't have much to live for. Now, I would be a lot smarter than this asshole about
but like you did say earlier in the show, that if any of your daughters were ever harmed, you would flat off kill that fucker.
And
I don't blame you. I was a father of four daughters,
would
three surviving daughters. Me
that
too.
are Tammy's progeny. That would apply to them as well.
right.
Absolutely.
You know, look, I'm sorry. If
But
I
here's-
feel like I got nothing more to live for, then I'm okay with wiping out somebody.
But-
But intellectually, I still say it's murder. It's still wrong.
But
But I get the emotion, the desire.
Tom, here's the thing. If you're going to do it because this is a just act, you're not going to flee the scene, right? You're going to kill the guy. This is what you do generally see, right? When you see this stuff happen at courthouses, right?
Mhm.
When somebody kills
They hold their hands up. They give up.
I did it. I take full responsibility. You don't run and flee for 5 days.
Like one of the most
No, I
famous
don't want to
examples
go
of
to
this.
jail either and have a bunkmate named Bubba who's 400 pounds.
Well,
It's like you.
well,
look
yes,
nice.
but
you
also-
you look mighty nice in them tight jeans, there, boy.
But let's remember back in the early '80s, there was the father whose child was molested by his karate instructor, and they were shipping him to through the airport. The father sat at the phone. So it's a famous video. You can look it up on YouTube. He was on the phone waiting for that guy to walk by, and as he walked by, he pulled his gun out and right next to the cop blew that bastard's brains out. He was tried for open murder, and the jury found him not guilty. Because you had a bunch of jurors going, this guy admitted to molesting this little boy, and it was like horrible. I mean, it wasn't just touching; it was like molestation to the core.
Right.
So the thing is I think this is the easy. And I'm not trying to belittle anybody in the comments, okay? But it is very easy to sit right now with my Coca-Cola, coffee, whatever, in the warmth of my home on this 12th of December and say, I don't think I would do that to a CEO if my wife ended up dying because of lack of health care. But this is the problem. Everybody in this video right now, me, you, and Eric, Tom, including everybody in chat, has their point that they will go and they're willing to break. They will break. No matter how religious you are.
Was it Cal Vanoni that said everybody has their Liam Neeson moment?
Yes.
Liam Neeson point or something along those lines. And I remember thinking, oh, that's a pretty good comment, actually.
Well, I mean, because what it is it's a thing where, everybody has their point. Like Piano says, I offer my prayers and condolences, but the claim was denied. And sad to say, that's true.
That's actually funny, but
yeah.
I don't want to laugh because
it's like Elfbait. All I have to say is I bet VA admins are shitting themselves right now. That's right. They just announced a $17 billion cut in VA programs.
Well, you
Fuck
know,
you,
I gotta
whoever
say
had that
though,
idea.
on the VA situation, my father was actually um, classified by the VA as 90% disabled.
Mhm.
And so they literally paid for every friggin' thing.
Damn right, because he earned it.
I've got handrails that I could mount on the bathroom walls that like they literally paid for everything.
Yeah.
You know, so I mounted a few, you know, for getting in and out of the spa tub my mother installed. But I mean, literally, we had so much stuff in the attic that I was storing. We gave it to a charity, medical stuff that we gave to a charity that sends this stuff to third world countries that the VA paid for. Dad had world class health care. They literally paid for everything. They covered everything for him, but he was able to prove that they had given him cancer first thing.
But see, the thing is, what they're talking about doing, like it was Musk who announced it through this office of whatever they call it, is I'm all for, by the way, cutting fat. But I'll tell you what, there's a few programs that should be sacrosanct. VA programs, Social Security, and I don't care who the hell it is in this country, no child should go without medical care. None of our elderly should go without medical care, food, and or housing, and any American should not go without needed medical care. And
You know,
like I said in the very beginning, I'm sorry if it needed medical care.
Right.
I've invested a lot of thought in this because when because of some of my teachers, I grew up thinking like a capitalist and a Republican. And so I was very like, yeah, you know, welfare is bullshit. But I got thinking about it, you know, after living in East Boston, where there's a lot of poor people, a lot of people like on WIC, which is welfare. And I got thinking about it. I says, you know what? I says, actually, I guess I'm not that. I have that big of a problem with WIC because you know what it does is that it means that the local business Shaw's there in East Boston, people go in with their WIC coupons and they get milk, and that milk gets sold, and it might not get sold to those families who are so poor that they need WIC.
But Tom, there's corruption in everything.
So it helps. It helps that business. It helps those people who work there, keeps them employed, and all the way around that welfare actually does good.
But WIC is women, infants, children. Okay, so that's essentially what
Children 2 and younger.
Yeah, we're taking food stamps. But here's the thing, and this is remember, I worked in the South Bronx. I worked in Harlem, and I saw generations that were on welfare. And I talked to people; they were good people. And I would find out from people that were in their 20s, it's like, officer, you know, I want to get a job, but for this is going back to the turn of the century, so we're going back about 20 years.
And
Every
is the same.
Every dollar I earn, I lose in benefits. So unless I'm earning far more than I'm making in benefits, they're telling me not to work.
Yes,
and that's a problem with the system. That's not, and that these are people who are like, you know, obviously you think I just want to stand around all day, but you're telling me that I am not worth it to go and work because they weren't going to get paid. The minimum wage is what? $6, $7.50. It has
it's like $7.35 an hour.
not since I entered the workforce in my 20s. When you are telling people that, hey, you want to improve your lot in life, but guess what? We're going to hold you back as you try to do so. There's a problem with the system. And I didn't begrudge these people for being on welfare when the government itself is trying to leave them on welfare.
Keep in mind also, you have to look at, when you look at things like welfare, you have to look at the big picture. And the big picture is this, is you look at people, and my grandfather's a good example. My grandfather quit school in 9th grade, walked over to a tool and die shop in Detroit, Michigan, and got a job, was trained in trades, and was a tool and die man his entire life and supplied food on the table, bought a home and all that. You cannot... Oh, no problem. Yeah, Eric, I think Eric has to go here in a moment.
Yep.
But the thing is the problem that we have in this country also is it's a systemic issue because look at how much of our industry has left for other countries, and our government allows it to
Oh, yeah.
happen with no penalty.
Yeah.
So jobs have flooded out. We here in Battle Creek, Kellogg's cut 85% of their workforce in the last 2 years.
Oof.
85%. Where'd they move it to? Mexico. There was a large print company that employed 1,100 people here in Battle Creek. They moved to Mexico.
Yeah.
They gave people
That
1
sounds
week
like
notice.
that's a NAFTA issue, honestly.
But see, that's the whole point. You have to take a look, though, at the systemic issue. Why are so many people on welfare? Are they just inherently lazy? Sure, there's lazy people on welfare.
Oh, yeah,
sure, there's
sure.
people that don't want to work because they
Right.
just don't want to. But I think the majority of people, if you said, listen, because let's face it, guys, I'm sorry. My brother Mike was on welfare. They don't pay these people, like a lot of people make them out to pay. I mean, they're making bare minimum.
Right.
They
And
pay
the
'em
thing
enough.
is,
It's poverty money.
yes.
Yeah.
So the thing is, if you took the average guy on we'll pick on men. You take the average man on welfare, has a wife and 2 kids, and you say, I'm going to give you a job. We're going to train you, and we're going to pay you a decent, livable wage. Or you can stay on welfare. I'll bet you 90% of them would take that job.
Oh, I
agree.
think that's almost a guarantee. Again, that was
Is that
my
what take
experience.
that deal?
But again, that dollar for dollar being taken away just kind of ruined the incentive for these people to try to improve their lot in life, and that sucked. I mean, you hate to see that.
You know,
You know?
and another issue, I'll just bring up another issue, is you see people who are collecting Social Security, they can only work so much.
Yeah,
then
then they
they
start
lose it.
taking penalties.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what the hell? This is a good worker. We got hours we need covered. Let them work.
Well,
But
they
the
can
thing is, why does a person who is 65 or 68 years old and they've busted their ass and worked all their life, why do they have to work?
Well, some people just want to keep working.
I get it, but
Yeah,
the whole point is a lot of them do it because they have to.
Right.
I mean, if you
want
won the lottery tomorrow, Tammy would still keep working, but she would just do it in,
Right.
in
Sure.
community theater. She
Right.
would just be busy.
But Tom, here's the thing: if you are of retirement age, you can collect Social Security and work all you want. But if you're collecting disability, there's a maximum amount that you can earn because you are disabled.
Yeah.
It's kind of like double dipping into the system. Why are they going to allow you to make money if you're saying that you're disabled? If you can work, then you're not disabled.
Mhm.
That's the issue. So
Yep. All right. Well, you know what, guys? It is 9:05. Eric has to get to his tavern on Discord.
I do.
So
Serve some
I
drinks,
think-
Eric.
I think this would be a good time for everybody to bow out.
Hot
Sound
tea,
good?
non-alcohol sucks, but it's good.
Guys, sound good?
Sounds good.
Okay, sounds good. All right, everybody, thank you for tuning
Romulus
in.
Ale.
Yeah. Everybody, thank you for tuning in tonight's video. Much appreciated. Much appreciated. We had a very, very busy chat, which is what we all
Warn
love.
me ahead. I'll get the tinfoil hat out.
Next week, we will provide free tinfoil hats for anybody who tunes in to this show.
I
So-
will help make them.
Ooh.
All right. So, everybody, thank you for tuning in again. Everybody, have a good weekend, safe weekend, happy gaming. This is Don from Blog Many Things signing off. Have a good night.
Later, folks.
Night, guys.
All right, guys. Good night.
103.